So, I was wondering if I'll ever become a legend one day. I mean, you'll never know if somebody will be talking about me years from now and looking back at me and thinking, this guy, he was a legend. Hey everybody, this is David, and today I am going to be talking about Legends of Tomorrow, Season 1, Episode 1. That's right, this is the very first episode, the pilot episode, part 1 of the pilot, should I say. So next week will be part 2. So this episode, they give us some closure, but there's a little bit left to take care of. So I'm going to tell you what I thought about the episode, and here we go. So first of all, I want to start off with how different this show is compared to Arrow and Flash. And they kind of point that out a little bit in the episode when Sarah and Laurel are training. There's a little training scene between the two of them. And when Sarah's explaining this whole situation to Laurel, that, you know, this guy named Rip Hunter, who came from the future, is coming to recruit all of these heroes and villains. To Sarah and Laurel, it sounds crazy. Laurel even says how, whoa, there's time travel. This is like something out of my league. I don't even know this. And so it was kind of cool seeing the characters all kind of doubt this idea of time traveling, because it's funny because the Flash had time travel last season, right? So you think, but then I think what's his name, the Doctor, the old man who's part of Dr. Martin Stein. That's it. You think that he would be okay with it, and he was. He was actually the only one okay with it because he loved the time travel aspect in the Flash. He was the one explaining all the theories about time travel to Team Flash. So it was kind of funny that he was the one that, yeah, let's do this, man. And he had to drug the other half of Firestorm to get him to go on the ship. So that was really good. I really liked the interactions with these characters in this episode. It was a lot of fun. Specifically Jefferson, or Jax, who when he was introduced in Flash as the new half of Firestorm, replacing Robbie Amell, I wasn't too sure about him in that episode. And now this episode kind of won me over. It kind of made me accept him a little bit more. I actually thought he looks like he's going to be the comedic relief. Just like how Cisco is kind of the one that steals a lot of the good bits, I feel like Jax is going to be the funny character in this series. And I'm really looking forward to how these characters develop as a team, because I really like the interactions. I really like that scene where Captain Cold, Heatwave, and Sarah go to that bar in the 70s, and, you know, they start having that fight in there. I thought that was a lot of fun. Brendan Routh's character, you know, I'm so glad Brendan Routh gets another chance at being a superhero. And, you know, who knew that when he started off on Arrow back last season in season 3, who knew that he would now be in a new show as one of the main characters? I think that's really cool, and I'm really happy for him because I think Brendan Routh is an awesome actor, and it's kind of shitty that, you know, it's not his fault that the movie didn't do as well as they wanted, and so I'm glad to have him on this show because he's gonna bring it, and he was great in it. And I really liked the character of Ray Palmer. I actually liked it when he was trying to remind Dr. Stein that, you know, hey, I was one of your students. Do you remember me? And Stein's like, no, I don't remember you. So that was really nice. There was, like I said, a lot of great interaction throughout the episode. Rip Hunter seems like he's going to be a really cool character as well. I really liked him. Especially when we started to get to know a little bit more of his backstory, that kid in the beginning who we saw, who was killed by Vandal Savage, that was his family, that was his son. And we find out that, you know, Vandal Savage murdered Rip Hunter's family. So that's pretty cool. It makes me wonder, though, if we will eventually see Booster Gold, because if I remember correctly, Booster Gold is supposed to be the grandfather of Rip Hunter. Will we get to see him eventually? Who knows? There is a Booster Gold Blue Beetle film in development by Greg Berlanti. That doesn't mean that it will tie into that movie. I think that the movies are going to be separate, but I still wonder if Booster Gold will somehow make his way onto this show or some reference to him in some way. We'll have to wait and see on that, I guess. We also learned that Hawkman and Hawkgirl have, they had, obviously we know they had relations throughout the decades that in their past lives, and we got to see their son in this episode. Apparently they had a son, I guess in the 60s, 40s, whatever, and yeah, they got to meet him, who was the doctor there that they met in the 70s, and that was really cool. And it made me wonder, well, yeah, I guess they would have, if they were lovers throughout so many years or centuries or whatever, they would have to, have a little fun once in a while. So who knows how many kids they've had throughout the years, right? Maybe we'll see more of them. Who knows? I really like that they had Green Arrow and Black Canary in this episode. It was really nice tying them in, and it kind of goes back to the Flash too. When you go back and watch that Flash pilot, who's there to help introduce to help the Flash start off? It's Green Arrow. So it's kind of like the producers are showing that Arrow was their first show, so he's kind of like helping the newbies get a fresh start, and that's kind of cool for Stephen Amell and to come in and do that. I thought it was, and plus it's always cool to see these little crossovers and connections. So that's one of the fun things about these shows all connecting. I'm just kind of sad they didn't bring in Barry for a little cameo or two here and there. Maybe when Captain Cold and Heatwave, their introduction, maybe they should have had Barry come in and like stop them or something. And then, Rip Hunter says, hey, I'll take care of these two. And that would have been a cool introduction for, to have a little cameo with Barry. But whatever, I'm fine. I really enjoyed all their introductions. I was wondering how they were all going to be introduced in this episode. And I thought Rip Hunter was going to get Arrow and Flash to gather them. Just like from that first trailer. Because obviously we saw in this episode, Flash and Arrow were not on the rooftop in the original trailer back when we saw it last year. For the most part, I think I really enjoy the time travel aspect. It really feels very sci-fi, a lot like Doctor Who. I haven't seen too much of Doctor Who, but from what I have seen, it felt a little bit like that to me. And I'm curious to see how the general public will receive this. Will they love it as much as The Flash or Arrow, or will it be on a different level? You can see that a lot of money was put into this pilot for sure, and from what I've been hearing, the budget has been maybe going a little bit overboard. If that's true, I can already see by the pilot that they put a lot into this episode. That set, the whole time ship set, looked really nice, and I can't wait to explore more of that and see what other set designs and what other episodes they have in store, especially if it's true that there are going to be episodes that are going to be taking place in the future as well. So I think this pilot really set up everything nicely. I think we got a little bit of Rip Hunter. Obviously, they established the characters that we already know for people that haven't seen the other shows before, so that's really good. It does make me wonder if they explain those characters enough that people can follow it easily. But I think the creators of this show have to know that the people most likely watching are the people that have already been following Arrow and Flash. So, that should be interesting. If anybody who's watching this video has not seen Arrow and the Flash and just started watching Legends of Tomorrow, tell me, did you follow the show okay, or was it hard to follow at times? I'd like to know from you guys for sure. So with that being said, guys, I'm going to end this with an 8.5 out of 10. I really had a great time with this episode. I really, I really enjoyed a lot of the funny moments, specifically with Jefferson. I thought he was a really funny character. I really liked all these characters. I liked them when they were on the other two shows, and I'm really liking their chemistry already together as a unit. And I can't wait to see them expand. We didn't get too much of Vandal Savage, and the only question I have with Vandal Savage that I'm going to leave off on is that we didn't. The last time we saw Vandal Savage and he was killed by Arrow, Flash, and the other Hawkman and Hawkgirl, is that Malcolm picked up his remains, right? And he was going to bring him back to life. But did we see the Vandal Savage from that time? Because clearly there's always a Vandal Savage in every timeline, right? Vandal Savage doesn't have a time machine. So I'm curious to see if they'll explain that very soon. Malcolm's connection, that he was the one that brought Vandal Savage back, or if they're just going to leave that alone. I have a feeling we will see Malcolm in this season, in this series sometime down the road. So other than that, guys, yeah, I really enjoyed it, and it was a really fun episode. I can't wait for next week. Now I have 3 shows that I'm going to be reviewing: Arrow, The Flash, and now Legends of Tomorrow. It's the Greg Berlanti universe, what he's started. Andrew Kreisberg and Mark Guggenheim. The 3 of them have created this great universe, and I can't wait to see it continue. Now, come on, Warner Brothers, we need Supergirl and Gotham somehow in here. They have a time-traveling ship now. Maybe they can go to the time where Bruce Wayne was just a little kid and meet him. Or maybe they can, team up with Supergirl. Who knows? I hear the Legion of Superheroes might be making an appearance in one of these DC shows. Legends of Tomorrow doesn't seem like a bad place to see them. So, until next time, guys, hopefully I'll see you next week. Subscribe to my channel because I'll be doing every episode of Legends of Tomorrow, hopefully if nothing goes wrong, as well as Arrow and The Flash. And until next time, take care.